2017 has come and gone, which means that it is time for another State of the Channel year-end update. Now, I want to start this off with a Universe Mode update, because I'm sure the first questions I'm going to get in the comments are, oh, where's Universe Mode? I've already been getting the comments, because Battleground was uploaded at the end of November, and the next episode hasn't come out yet, and everybody wants to know, because that's what people subscribe for, is the Universe Mode. So, if you recall from my last State of the Channel video, where I talked about how I dropped out of college, I was looking to pursue this YouTube channel, or at least just pursue YouTube as a whole, as a full-time career. That is, for the foreseeable future, that is the end goal I'm trying to reach. So, you'll also know in that update, I talked about how I started a second channel back in February, and that channel blew up much quicker than I expected it to, and over the course of this past year, it has overtaken this other channel, so I have a broader audience over there now than I do here. And I knew back then that I needed to slowly shift my focus towards that channel over this one, just because from a logistical standpoint, if I want to be able to make a living off of this, then I should go with the content that has the biggest audience, that would be the most profitable. I hadn't really done that. I had been kind of trying to balance both channels, but ultimately having to run Universe Mode on a consistent basis really cut into my time that I could make anime videos. So over the last like 6 months, my production rate on that channel has declined significantly, and I was very unhappy with where that channel had. I was unhappy with my growth on that channel. I was unhappy with my rate of content production over there, and I knew that I needed to change something. So that's what I did with December. I cut back on, I just cut back on this channel in general. There were no Universe Mode episodes, and even then, uploads were fairly sparse. Like, you got a couple of Behind the Universe videos, but that was mainly it. And by cutting back on this channel, I was able to upload. I was trying to go for weekly uploads, like a video a week on the anime channel, and I didn't understand there'd be 5 weeks in the month, because I just happened to post on a weekend, and there were 5 weekends, but I got 4 videos out in December, so it was a good trade-off for me personally. I was able to increase my upload rate on that channel, which was the end goal. Moving forward, my priorities are going to lie with that anime channel first and foremost over this wrestling channel. So that doesn't mean that Universe Mode is going to disappear entirely. However, I have to continue cutting back on it significantly like I have been doing. So that might mean that there's only going to be, at minimum, like an episode or 2 of Universe Mode a month. And I don't want this to be a long-term thing if it doesn't have to be, but the way I see it, the sooner I can get the anime channel off the ground, the sooner I can pursue this as a full-time career, and the sooner I can do that, the more time because once I can do this full-time, then I don't have to worry about a part-time job. I don't have to worry about, obviously, like, classes at university, because I'm not going to college anymore. So then I could focus solely on YouTube, and when I then have that time, that gives me more time to make content as a whole, which I could then, that means that would give me more time to divvy up between both channels, and at that point, I think I could manage things a lot better, and stick to a consistent rate on both channels, even if that means that I can't crank out, like, 2 or 3 Universe Mode videos a week. At the very least, maybe I could do 1 a week while also still doing my anime stuff on the reg. So that's, for the moment, Universe Mode content is definitely going to be cut back significantly. However, I did pitch before the idea of a casual Universe Mode. I talked about that in my 2K18 plans video. If you guys want, I could do a series like that. For those of you who might have missed it, it was, the idea is that I would do more of, like, I guess, a Goran Perkins style of Universe Mode, where I just kind of sit down and play the game. I don't know if I wouldn't necessarily say it would be comedic. Like, I think the tone would be fairly the same, except at least, like, the way I do my commentary or whatever. But the goal with it, at that point, with it being more of a GM mode styled video, is that then I could interact with you, the viewer, more. It would give me a type of content that would require it would be far less editing intensive, so I could upload that more on top of doing the anime videos that I do now. So I could maybe get an episode or 2 of that out a week, potentially. I say that tentatively now, but until I figure out what the style, like, how much time is going to go into that series, I can't promise anything. but it would be far more consistent than the highly edited universe mode content that I try to produce now. And I could interact with you more. It would be a good way, I guess, to kind of fill the gap for the time being. Like I said, I don't want this to be a long-term solution, but with GM mode, like going into 2018, that 2008 GM mode series looks like it's going to be the most consistent thing I can upload, because even earlier this year when I was focusing on the anime channel, I was able to get weekly GM mode videos out no problem. Sometimes I could even get 2 GM mode uploads in a week. And granted, I think the casual universe mode content would be, I would imagine those videos would be close to like an hour long each week, at minimum maybe like half an hour, 40 minutes, just because of I'd probably be doing more matches or whatnot. Granted, I could cut out the loading screens and whatever, but I guess this would be a discussion more fit to if I was actually going to do this. I could go more into the mechanics of what the casual universe mode would entail later on. But yeah, if you would like me to keep uploading more consistent content, and you wouldn't mind, I mean, it would still be universe mode content, it would be a completely different canon. Basically, I want to ask you the question, would you rather I stick to what I'm doing now, where I'll still just focus on the universe mode videos as they are, and they would just come out far less frequently, or would you rather I upload more consistent content for the time being, perhaps maybe put that universe mode on hold for now, or work on that in the background slowly while I also do my anime stuff and produce this casual universe mode? It would just be something to kind of fill the gap for now, and that way, like, then I could have a GM mode series coming out consistently, and a casual universe coming out consistently, which most of that stuff I mean, the casual universe I would probably record, like GM mode I usually do in bulk, so I have a lot of that in advance. The casual universe mode I don't think I would do as much, because the point of that would be that it is more interactive. But yeah, I could see how that goes. Just let me know in the comments, would you prefer a casual universe mode coming out in the meantime while we go through this sort of dry spell on the channel, or would you rather I just not do that and just wait for the universe mode videos as I can make them? Just let me know on that. Even that was a little more rambly than I wanted it to be, but hopefully that answers any of the immediate questions that anyone would have before they leave the video. Now on to the other stuff. This state of the channel format, I feel as though I'm probably going to do away with it. At the very least, for more generic updates, I can just do them on a case-by-case basis and title them as such, like an update for the 2K18 release, an update for new casual universe mode series, you know, stuff like that. But the state of the channel format, I feel like is, at this point, I think it has, I think it's served its purpose, because now I have a third channel called Maths Wizardry, where I do a sort of documentation of my YouTube progress at the end of each month. I go through and it's a more personal discussion, talking just more about my mindset with where things are going, the type of content that I put out, and what I'm looking to do in the future. So that series already kind of covers what this State of the Channel series has covered in the past, and I don't think double dipping on the same discussions is a good idea. That's never what I want my content to be. And I certainly think that those more personal discussions would be better saved for that channel, because then if you don't want to see it, you just don't subscribe and it's not there. Because I know a lot of people don't watch these State of the Channel videos, but if you are interested in these discussions, that type of discussion, then you can go over there and subscribe and you've got more content, so that's cool. But if you are on this channel and you don't really want to see that, then it's just gone. So this is probably going to be the end of the State of the Channel format. Like I said, maybe I'll do the yearly updates every year, just because, I don't know, it's a good way to kind of look back on the year and chart my progress or whatnot. But even then, I might not need to do that, because if I have the other updates I make on the other channel, might not be necessary. But yeah, the State of the Channel format might just die here. This might be the last, or maybe I'll still do the yearly thing, who knows. So for a more general discussion of my future plans, as I said in my universe mode update, I do plan on focusing on the anime channel for at least the foreseeable future. My goal for this year is to get that channel to my goal for 2018, rather, is to get that channel to 100,000 subscribers. So I'm gonna have my work cut out for me there, but maybe I can pull it off. I think that WWE 2K18 is very much so going to be sort of an off year for me. I've been making content like this for the last 5 years. Started in WWE 13 and have been going on since then, and I don't have any plans on just stopping, but for this year, since I want to put more of my emphasis on the other channel and the other content, more so it's until I can get that channel to a point where I have a big enough audience where I wouldn't have to make as much content to continue to sustain myself. At the end of the day, I enjoy both types of content that I make, and I don't really think I have a preference over the two. I do like the universe mode style content, that's why I don't want to stop making it completely. But I also enjoy doing the scripted stuff, talking about anime, because I'm also really passionate about anime. In fact, at this point in my life, I'm probably more passionate about anime than wrestling, because I haven't watched a WWE or even an NXT show since, I think the last wrestling show that I watched in its entirety was NXT TakeOver Orlando, and that was back in March, April. Although I am starting to get into New Japan, so that might maybe change. Maybe I'll get a bit of that passion for wrestling back. It's not that I'm not passionate about the wrestling series I make, because the way I view my universe mode, I view it more as a medium through which I can craft a story, and I love storytelling, so I'm more invested in the characters of my universe mode, and I also really enjoy just crafting the matches. Like, playing the game is... I mean, the gameplay is... it's a mixed bag, but I enjoy putting together the matches. I enjoy putting on a spectacle with each show, so that's not a type of content that I ever plan on stopping, or at least for the foreseeable future, I'd like to keep going with it. But I'm only one man. I only have so much time in the week, so much time in a day to allocate to each individual project that I want to work on, and ultimately, I need to figure out, you know, I need to allocate that time effectively so that I can still put out content on a consistent basis. Because yeah, I could divide my attention between my anime channel and my wrestling channel equally, and just barely upload on both channels, and that wouldn't work out that well. I know this past year I experimented with some different types of content, like I went into the more general discussions. I had a lot of unscripted videos, which I wasn't super duper happy with. Mainly because, as you know as a viewer of this State of the Channel series, is that I have a tendency to ramble, and that doesn't work so well in that format where I like to try to keep things concise, but then sometimes you'd have videos that were 20, 25 minutes, maybe even half an hour long, that really didn't need to be. The title history, for example, I think. I hadn't really thought of how the video would, like, look visually, so the narration really didn't even necessarily have to be there. I could have just thrown the graphics on screen and then just kind of talked about fun facts, and it could have been like a 5-10 minute thing, but I didn't think of that at the time, and that's, you know, hindsight's 20/20. You'll look at things and you'll realize your mistakes, but I don't feel as though deleting those videos is, like, if I delete them and try to replace them with something more concise, then that's just wasting my time, I feel, because instead of working on new content, I'm going back and adjusting old content, and I feel as though it's, like I already talked about not having a whole lot of time between the two channels. Like, I try to keep myself busy, but there's only so much I can do. So if I'm then going back to adjust old content rather than working on new content, that's not the best use of my time. I did kind of enjoy those discussion videos for what they were. They certainly, they gave my channel a bit of life over the summer, in a way that I wasn't expecting, because a lot of those videos performed pretty well. A lot of people seemed to like them, although there is the issue that some of them were too long, just because I have a tendency to ramble. Another reason why I wanted to make that type of content, at least for a bit, was to try to improve my ability to speak in an unscripted format. But to do that, that's just something I would have to keep at for an extended period of time and just keep going through it over and over again to really hammer it into my mind, because it's just a behavioral thing. It's just something that I do. But now that I have Math's Wizardry, where all the videos over there are just unscripted discussions, I already have a place where I can sort of hone that ability and try to cut down on my rambliness. So for now, I plan on doing less of those unscripted videos. I mainly did them over the course of the summer, and then after that I stopped, and I have done a couple since then, but that's what I would prefer to do, is just keep that type of content to a minimum, unless I have a topic where I really know what I want to talk about, and I know how I'm going to go about it, and I have it a bit more, I construct it in a more succinct way. Like with the with the video titled Universe Mode, How Long Does It Take to Make? That video might be 24 minutes, but I felt as though that one was concise for the nature, like the subject matter, what it was, the way I conducted it, because I had a bunch of stats, like I went through and I calculated everything. That video had more preparation going into it, as opposed to, say, the match stipulations video, where I was just talking about an idea and just coming up with thoughts on the fly. With the video, with the how long does it take to make video, that one I had a few bullet points to go off of. I had some definite numbers, formulas to go with, so that gave me a much more, it gave me something to follow as opposed to just doing what I am now, where I'm just coming up with ideas off the top of my head and forming a cognitive thought over the course of my dialogue as I'm saying words. Another type of content that I know that people really enjoyed, they really latched onto this past year, was the Universe Mode 101 tutorial videos. I was only able to do the commentary and the match cards video this year, and the last one was way back in May. It's just, that's another consequence of time constraints, where I have plenty of other stuff that I want to do. So, like, the effort that goes into a Universe Mode 101 video, it's still, I would say, less than a Universe Mode video. Well, that's tough to kind of gauge, because with Universe Mode 101, I have to write a script, and then record the script and do the visuals. And the visuals usually aren't super complex, but it's gauging something completely different, because with Universe Mode, I don't have to write a script, but I have to go through and record the visuals, and then edit the visuals, and then do the commentary, and then put the commentary in. So it varies, but it's another one of those types of heavily edited content that I just don't really have the time for to put out on a super consistent basis. Those videos are very similar in construction, in style, to the Pretend It Never Happened and What Could Have Happened videos, which it's just, again, a matter of time constraints. I'll try to get them out when I can, but for now, I just kind of have to play it by ear, go tackle these things as they come up. Mainly, the most consistent type of content I'm going to be able to upload for the foreseeable future is going to be the 2008 GM Mode series, which is going to be starting up fairly soon, and that I can get out on a weekly basis, so that won't be a problem. And the other type of content that I wanted to talk about here was the Pokémon videos. Now, I've been kind of torn on what I want to do with the Pokémon stuff, because, like, when I talk about time constraints, this is the easiest content that I can just cut, that I can just stop making, and save myself a little bit of time, but also, it really is only a little bit of time, because this type of content is not difficult to make. It's much like the GM Mode videos, in that all I need to do is sit down and play the game, and I do commentary while I'm playing it, and then I just make sure the commentary is lined up and do a tiny bit of editing in Sony Vegas, and then I just render it and boom, it's done. It's a really quick thing to make. I mean, it does take some time, but it doesn't take a whole lot, so I don't know how cutting that content, like how much extra time that'll give me, but like, it's not like I want to stop making the Pokemon videos, because that's typically how things go. At least for the last several years, I would start a Pokemon series, and then that would finish, and then I would just kind of stop Pokemon content for a while, and so I haven't been able to build up a group of people who really enjoy that type of content, because it's been so stop-start. It hasn't been consistent. And I was finally getting to a consistent schedule with it, I did Gale of Darkness, and as soon as that was done, I did Coliseum, and as soon as that was done, I was starting up the Red Rescue Team series, and then I was starting up the Nuzlocke. So I had big plans for Pokemon content going forward. The problem with it is that I am putting in the time for it, and not a lot of people watch it, so I think if I kept making that type of content, people might get a little upset about it, because it's like, oh, you have time to do this, but you can't do Universe Mode, or that sort of thing. And because it doesn't get much of a reception, it's not like I have much of a reward for doing it as far as, like, the views are concerned. I mean, I enjoy recording this stuff and making this stuff, but I also feel as though that type of content is sort of cluttering this wrestling channel, and I'm not sure if I want to make another channel for it, because then I would have a fourth channel, and granted, the audience for that would be pretty small already. The videos themselves don't get much of a viewership to begin with, but I guess part of me is concerned that that would cut the viewership a little bit more, which I guess, granted, cut it out of 100 views, it might be a little less than that, but that's fine. Although, if I put it on a separate channel away from the wrestling stuff, maybe it would do better, because then I could market it to my anime fans and and they could just go to that channel where they see Pokemon and other general gaming stuff. It's weird, because my philosophy with the MathWiz97X channel up to this point was that it was a wrestling gaming channel. So while it was predominantly about wrestling, it was also a place where I could focus on just making gaming videos, just having a good time playing some video games and doing whatever. I don't play a whole lot of video games, so that's why there hasn't really been much diversity in the content that I upload, but the Pokemon stuff I had wanted to be a staple of the channel. I wanted it to be a consistent thing. I thought at a point that I could be the wrestling and Pokemon guy, but that just never really panned out. The wrestling content took off more than the Pokemon stuff. I'm not sure what the logistics of it were. I think it was more of just a time and place thing with the wrestling content, and with Pokemon, I hadn't really covered anything recent, anything new that people could find me through, so I just don't think it had the same means of success that the wrestling content did when I first started it. And also me not being consistent with it, that didn't help. But I've considered moving the Pokemon content to a new channel. I don't think now would be the most ideal point to move the Pokemon content, because I'm in the middle of 2 different series, so if I started on a new channel, I'd be picking up at this random spot. But my philosophy with the MathWiz97X channel has started to shift, especially now that I have seen these channels like Real Neat Pro and Showbuckle, these people who are making more, like, they're making the type of content that I make on my anime channel, the video essays, but about wrestling. And so I thought, well, maybe I could do that. Maybe I could, because I have had ideas in the past for quite some time. Like, I experimented with it a bit with the top 5 best and worst of NXT in 2016 videos. Granted, I don't think those videos were the greatest, but since I've been working on the anime stuff, I have developed more of a style for script writing. So I thought about potentially starting to make video essays about wrestling on this channel and just branding this as a strictly wrestling-only channel. And then I could just move all my general gaming content somewhere else, make a new channel for that, and then people know what they're getting out of that content, and they won't have to, because some people just don't like wrestling, so they might not check out the Pokemon stuff, or, you know, they might not subscribe to the channel so that they only kind of find it whenever, out of chance, maybe, or they do like the wrestling content and they don't like the other content, they don't like the Pokemon stuff, they don't want to see it. So from an organizational standpoint, I think that might be smart, but also, if I start these wrestling video essays, I don't know, because I've also thought, should I maybe make a new channel for that? Because who's to say that people who watch my video essays about wrestling, who's to say that they're not gonna care for the gaming content, and they won't subscribe because they'll see all this clutter and just be like, why is this here? My MathWiz97X channel has always had a problem of dead subscribers. I have like 14,000, but the average Universe Mode video gets about 1,000 to 2,000 views, and I know that's just a YouTube problem in general. People will subscribe and then not watch everything, and they don't unsubscribe, they just kind of sit there forever, for eternity, and so then you've got a bunch of dead subscribers. That's just a YouTube problem, not me specifically. But if I did start making that type of content, I think that would make the wrestling channel a bit more profitable. Now, that isn't to say that I would just stop making the Universe Mode just to focus on those wrestling video essays, because honestly, those videos would come out pretty infrequently, because I don't have too many ideas for, like, wrestling discussions, but, you know, it would be kind of like a case-by-case thing, like maybe I'll come up with something. Because at the moment I could see myself doing a video. I think at the moment I could probably do a lot about NXT if I was going to talk about anything. Like, I wanted to talk about Asuka's character development in NXT and kind of chronicle her journey, and I think that could be a video. I thought about maybe making a video about Adrian Neville's original NXT title reign and why I enjoyed that title reign so much. The way he was able to sort of be, like, show heelish tendencies, but ultimately he was still a face at the end of the day. Like, he was able to ride that line, and I thought he did so pretty well. So that would be, you know, those would be the type of content that I could make. And like I said, they'd be pretty infrequent, so it wouldn't be a super huge distraction from the content that I make here, and it would be a chance for this channel to have a type of content that could reach a broader audience. Like, you've got channels like, for example, you do have the Show Buckles and Real Neat Pros, which are starting to rise to prominence, but even before that, you do have channels like What Culture, which have been doing more general discussions of wrestling content for a while, and they're pretty successful, so I do think that that's something I could make work for me. It's not that I would completely try to shift towards, oh, we gotta do top 10 videos about wrestling, and oh, we gotta do, you know, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of What Culture's content in particular. I just use them as an example of a channel, a group who was able to make wrestling, I guess, a bit more profitable from a content creator's perspective. My main issue with their content was just that the formulas they would follow I didn't particularly care for, like a lot of the, well, I don't need to get into a What Culture hate rant here, but I just wanted to throw that idea out there. What do you think of the idea? Would you like to see some videos like that, like the two that I had pitched here? Does that sound interesting? Let me know. Man, I talked about the way that I ramble. I thought I was gonna make good time with this video. I was surprised with how short it was, and then that happened, and now we're like 30 minutes in, and there it goes. I had it, and now it's gone. Granted, it's still shorter than most of the State of the Channel videos I've done, but I guess it's still not the most consumable thing out there. The last year has been a pretty fun one, but it's also been a big time of change for me, both in real life and in YouTube. I'm thinking about a lot of different things, trying to figure out where I want to take this, where I just want to take the MathWiz97 brand, where I want to take it in the future, what I want to be, what I want to do, and try to figure out how to manage my time appropriately, where I want to put all of my efforts. So I do apologize for the lack of content recently. I mean, this past year I put out some of the projects I'm the most proud of, like the Universe Mode 101 videos I thought were cool. I enjoyed making those. Then there's WrestleMania, which is by far one of my all-time favorite videos I've ever made. Probably one of the things I'm the most proud of in my life as a whole. And I know that's gonna sound maybe a bit of an exaggeration because it's just a YouTube video, but I don't know. I haven't done a whole lot before. Like, before I started YouTube, I didn't really have much direction in what I wanted to do with my life. But what am I saying anymore? I don't even know. But that WrestleMania video I really liked it. It's not the greatest thing out there on YouTube, not even the greatest wrestling show out there on YouTube. Like, as far as production values go, I'm still not even close to what FAM does. Like, nobody can hold a candle to what Forever a Movement makes, but I think as a one-man project, I don't know, like, I'd hesitate to say that nobody has topped my WrestleMania. I mean, certainly as far as length goes, I don't think a single person has had the balls to make nearly a 6-hour pay-per-view. But there's just this part of me that doesn't allow me to give myself that much credit, because I don't know, I always want to put myself underneath somebody. Like, I always want to say that someone's above me, just because I can't, I guess, morally put myself in that light, which, I mean, part of that is self-deprecating, and it's a bit harmful of a mindset that I'm in, but I don't know. I mean, I am proud of that WrestleMania show. I think it's the best thing that I've made. I guess I've never really been a person to compare my content to others, unless it's like the only way that I compare myself to others is when, like, I see someone who has, like, some sort of technical issues, like they have a terrible microphone, or their footage is garbage, or they don't even really, like, edit anything. Then I'm like, oh yeah, well, I prefer my content to that person's, but that's neither really here nor there. Doesn't have much to do with this. But yeah, that's 2017. It's done. Bring on 2018. I guess technically I didn't reach my goal of 20,000 subscribers with this channel, although I did hit that with the anime channel, which was nice, because usually I don't hit my subscriber goals. I think I set one in for the last 2 years, and I fell short of both of them. So it was nice to actually hit one of those for a change. We'll see how the 100,000 subscribers thing plays out on my anime channel, but with this one, I don't know if I have to put a number to it. Do I have a number? Numbers don't really matter at the end of the day, but I like to come up with one just because it's a concrete thing to shoot for. But ultimately, I'm happy with the content that I make, and I just want to be able to make more content more consistently. at the same level of quality, if not at a higher level of quality. So ultimately, the number isn't the big thing. It's just to try to, I guess, achieve a higher level of success, to have more faith in my work, I guess. But if I had to pick a number, I guess 25,000. I don't like. I could see myself maybe hitting 20,000 this year. I highly doubt that I'd hit the 25,000. But again, if I do the video essays, maybe something will happen. Maybe I'll catch lightning in a bottle or something. I mean, the anime channel blew up out of nowhere, so I don't really know what to expect. Maybe I should just have an open mind. But I like to shoot for something high. Like, I could go for a goal that I know I can attain, but I feel as though if I reach for something beyond that, even if I fall short of that goal, there's a possibility that I can push further, like that I can get further than I otherwise would have, just trying to reach for something that I could grasp. If I had to come up with an example, let's say that I wanted to run 3 kilometers. That's my goal. And I know that I can run 2 kilometers, so that would be a feasible goal for me. But if my goal is to run 3, then maybe if I don't run those full 3, maybe I can go 2.5 or something, and that's further than 2. I don't know why I use metrics. I guess I did that because it'd be more relatable to a foreign audience, but I don't know how that relates, because I do things in miles, because America's stupid with how they measure stuff. They have their own system, and it's just more complicated. But, yeah, I've rambled on long enough. Thank you for listening to this year-end update. I hope you had a fantastic year. I know I had one. I enjoyed this year the most. It was my favorite year that I've been on YouTube so far, even if it was also the most stressful for just other reasons. Part of that was, of course, the inconsistent content, but mostly it was just life stuff that had me stressed out this year. But I was really happy with the stuff I made, and I'm hoping that in 2018 I can make even better content, so be sure to stick around for that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting me over the years, over the months, forever how long you've subscribed. Maybe it's only been a couple days, maybe you just found me, but thank you for watching, and until next time, keep on YouTubing.